Hello, this is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3. And in this particular video, I want to talk about what is better, getting a Master's of Information Technology or getting a PhD in Business Administration. So if you don't know, I'm a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity platform to help out people as much as I possibly can. So I'm aiming at helping out graduate students and PhDs as much as I possibly can. So I created this sharing economy proofreading platform, but then I wanted to get the word out about it, so I'm doing all these YouTube videos. All right, so this was a question that was asked of somebody, and again, if this was a question that was asked from somebody that is sort of interested or with comments and stuff, how this works is all you have to do, if I answer one of your questions, you just have to do something nice for somebody within the next hour. So it's all about reciprocity. You just have to do something nice for somebody. It doesn't matter what it is. You can say, you can call somebody up you haven't talked to in a while. You can pick up some garbage outside, just something. That's it. That's all I want you to do. And we'll call it even Steven. All right. So, what would you actually do, or what would be the best alternative in terms of getting a PhD or master's of information technology? So if I were you, I'd be thinking about the long-term career prospects and what you want to be doing in about 15 years, because they are pretty different in terms of the outcomes that you get. So the education is probably going to be somewhat similar to some degrees in the sense that you're going to get outcomes. You're going to get job security, for example, and you can show that you're pretty talented doing either one of those particular degrees, but they have very different sort of outcomes in what you do. So if you do a master's, for example, in whatever it is, operations research, information technology, whatever it is that you're thinking of, you're likely going to become a manager at the end of it, and you're going to do much more along the lines of sort of management stuff, right? So this would be leading teams. This would be maybe doing assessments within an organization of some sort, some analytical assessment. You're going to do a tremendous amount of learning, but it's a lot more sort of group worky kind of stuff. But if you do a PhD, it is a lot more, particularly in like the social sciences, business administration is one of them. You're going to do much more along the lines of studying why managers do the things that they do, right? So one of them is you're on the grounds, and then the other one is you're studying what makes that one particular kind of person do the things that they do, right? So you're thinking about what is really truly going on behind the scenes, and you're likely, some people do, you're likely not going to put a lot of this stuff into practice going forward, right? So you're just going to be sort of accumulating knowledge. Your job is to read, write, and do arithmetic, and then just communicate that, right? So thinking what you would do. So my son is doing, fourth grade science, and they're learning out how to become a scientist, or what a scientist does. And they do things like analyze, ask questions about the world, collect sort of a repository of information, and then they communicate this information to other people. And that's really all you're doing, is you're a scientist at the end of the day. But you're working in a business school if you're doing a PhD in business administration, right? But it could be in any kind of school. But if you're doing a management sort of degree, you're going to be doing management stuff, right? So that's an important thing to think about. So you really have to think about, what do you really want to be when you grow up? And that's really the big question. I know it's going back to fourth grade, right? But it's coming back to that idea of thinking about, what do you really want to be when you grow up? And there's vast differences in what you're actually doing once you get done, and they're both wonderful. If it was me and I was at that moment, I would have a tough time sort of deciding which one is the best for me. But you have to think about, okay, what do you want to do in the long run? What are sort of the career prospects are pretty good for both of them. They have different sort of unique things. If you watch some of my older videos, I talk about, getting a PhD and what it means in terms of like moving, and sometimes it's difficult to get a job initially, but then, job security gets better and better. Whereas getting a master's degree, you're much more generalizable, I guess. So you can go into different areas and things like that. But maybe the career prospects are not going to be nearly as high. I don't know. So you just have to sort of think about what you're going to be going forward. I wouldn't do a PhD to do things like consulting, management consulting, or being a manager. That's probably not the right route, although you're probably going to get a much more in-depth understanding doing that route. But, a master's of science or a master's degree will get you really far, and far enough that the market will understand what you're about. So hopefully that answers your question, and what you're thinking about. I know it's tough to think about these kind of questions, but you have to sort of think about this. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out, this, if I was you, and people have told me this, and I've done this before, and it really helped out, is sort of get an Excel spreadsheet or get a piece of paper down and just do a pros and cons list and rank order them. Go through and sort of think about what you're thinking about going forward. Watch a couple of these videos that I have up, and then rank order what you're thinking would be the best for you, because it's really ultimately for you, and you have to think about that. So that's it. That's all I want to talk about. Hopefully this was helpful, and please do go do something nice, just one thing in the next hour. You can put comments there if you want to at the end of the video. If you have questions, you can leave comments at the end of the video as well. Please do, and I'd be happy to answer them, with only one caveat: you're going to have to do something nice in return. All right? So that's it. Take care, and have a wonderful day. Bye. Oh, give me a thumbs up and do subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right. Bye.